A couple of areas got really hard hit. Most of the rest of the city did okay. So it's all about where these bands set up and how quickly the rainfall adds up.
You know, Mike, we talked about this in previous systems where it's location, location, location. Who will be that spot? We just don't have the answers to that. And it could potentially be a place well inland.
Yes, it could, because that depression is heading slowly north up to our values to start with. So there's a lot of moisture in the column to squeeze out, and the atmosphere is going to do the best to do that. And again, just hope that things keep moving around, and the totals, it rains hard here, then it rains hard here, kind of like whack-a-mole, and we can keep the sum of the rainfall down across most of the metro.
You know, Mike, we talk about how quickly this was up to a TD and then to eventually a tropical storm. This is a weather-savvy area, so I would imagine they've got their eye on this, knowing that the rainfall was a possibility. As you made your way around the area today, was this something that people were concerned about?
I've had no really chance to talk to anybody, Alex. We got into the airport and circled all the way down through the Lake Jackson area to Surfside Beach and right into here. So unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. But I can tell you, people living in Houston know about heavy rain, and they knew there was going to be a lot of rain coming in. Adding a TD or a name to it makes it certainly more visible on social media and around the rest of the country. But for the locals, it doesn't change much as far as the rainfall totals. When it became a tropical storm, that didn't increase the forecast for how much rain that's going to fall.
Yeah, good point there. Mike Seidel for us tonight. He is in Jamaica Beach in Texas. We'll be back with Mike here throughout the show tonight. But obviously the big concern is rain.
Yeah,
we know that we can produce huge amounts of rain with these systems coming in off the Gulf.
Yeah, gosh, we were looking at that tower cam there over Houston, and this is what you can expect.
They have terrible traffic on dry days. Now you throw in a tropical storm, it will be torture. Tonight's commute, tomorrow mornings, tomorrow evenings, Thursday mornings.
Yeah, we're talking about a prolonged event out of this. You look at the cone and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe it'll move out of here soon, but this is not going to be, you know, a quick zip. Instead, we're going to be looking at that significant flood threat remaining in East Texas with this storm kind of meandering around because the rounds of heavy rain, as Mike just said, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday.
They're sticking around for a long time for us, unfortunately. And we know that there are flood mitigations in place in Houston to keep the city from flooding, but it's not always enough. Meteorologist Mark Elliott shows us why.
I've lived in Houston for 40 years and I've never seen anything like this.
Scenes like these are becoming more frequent in and around Houston. Flooding, the city's prone to it. Let's take a look at some of the reasons why it's so vulnerable to flooding. The Houston metro area has grown by a staggering 650% since the 1950s and is now home to more than 6 million people. More people, more buildings. What makes matters worse, Houston has very poor drainage. And in Galveston, if the seawall gets wiped out by a hurricane, without a surge protection system, water would overflow into the city, which could be catastrophic. Storm surge isn't the only problem. Heavy rain from tropical systems or otherwise can cause havoc. For example, in August of 2017, Hurricane Harvey dumped more than 40 inches of rain in just a few days, causing unprecedented flooding. More than 150,000 Houston area homes were damaged or destroyed. Overall costs, $125 billion. Then in April of 2016, a storm caused parts of Houston to get 10 to 15 inches of rain in less than 12 hours, flooding roads, homes, and businesses, and 8 people were killed. Harvey, the April 2016 floods, and the Memorial Day flood in 2015 have already shown how damaging floodwaters can be in Houston, and the city remains a prime candidate for future disasters.
Great information there from Mark Elliott. New images tonight from the hard-hit northwestern Bahamas, nearly 3 weeks after Hurricane Dorian caused widespread devastation. The video from the air is telling, and it will likely be a long road to recovery for the people who used to call these villages in Abaco home. Roads remain washed out, cutting off critical supplies to those who need it. And right now, volunteers and aid groups are working to get food, to get water, medicine, and other necessities to hurricane victims, maybe taking shelter on the other islands. And, you know, it's not what anyone living in the Bahamas wants to see, but we do have another tropical depression that could track towards the island. So something that we will be watching very closely here in the coming days. It is Tropical Depression 10. Could become Jerry at this point, still tropical depression 10. We do expect strengthening, likely a hurricane by late Friday. And again, watching northern parts of the Lesser Antilles, got to watch places like St. Martin and Anguilla, Puerto Rico, and of course the Bahamas farther in line. Still a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the eventual forecast of this tropical depression 10. But you can see there are a lot of areas that we need to keep a close eye on or need to monitor this as we move forward in time. So plenty of activity happening there in the basin. Right now, 35-mile-per-hour winds with this one, and that movement is west-northwest at 10 miles an hour. Location still way to the west of the Leeward Islands, but again, by the late part of the week, got to watch for that. There's our upper-level ridge, our upper-level trough. So again, we watch this continue that westward motion. Does it make that turn like most of our other systems have thus far? Absolutely a viable option. When we look at our future radar, we've got Humberto. There's our current tropical depression. Take a look at what the European model has in store for this one, and you can see this keeps it north of a place like an Anguilla, Hispaniola, and eventually does have it taking that turn, but we will have to really watch the Bahamas and, of course, farther in line Bermuda. Don't want to take your eye off the ball by any means here in the U.S. as well. We look at the U.S. GFS model as we get this into motion, taking a little bit to load, but we'll get to that in a moment. Typical tracks and origins would be very much in line with what we're watching, but again, things could change, and we're going to keep an eye on TD10, potentially Jerry. And we've got a lot more for you on Weather Underground tonight. Coming up, tropical storm Imelda could bring life-threatening flash flooding to Houston. Got to talk about flood insurance.
Geico makes it easy to get help when I need it. With licensed agents available 24/7, it's not just easy. It's having Jerome Bettis on your flag football team easy. Go get him, Bus!
Ooh. Come on, Bus. Come on. Hey, wait. I'm glad I got the flag. I got your flag. I'm glad I got your flag.
It's Geico Easy, with licensed agents available 24/7.
49 nothing.
They're America's biopharmaceutical researchers, pursuing life-changing cures in a country that fosters innovation. Here, they find breakthroughs, like a way to fight cancer by arming a patient's own T-cells. Because it's not just about the next breakthrough, it's all the ones after that.
Okay, here is your paperwork if you want to review it and make sure everything's in order.
These factory floor mats, really as good as WeatherTech.
You know, laser measure.
No.
Nothing comes even close to laser-measured WeatherTech floor liners. They offer the ultimate protection, front, back, and even up the sides. For a full line of premium automotive accessories, order at WeatherTech.com. Nothing protects like WeatherTech.
Month after month, I'm doing it all. The supplements, the veggies, the water, but I still have recurring constipation, belly pain, straining, and bloating. My doctor said I could have a real medical condition called IBS-C.
From my recurring constipation and belly pain from IBS-C, I said yes to Linzess.
Linzess treats adults with IBS with constipation. Linzess is not a laxative. It works differently. It helps relieve belly pain and lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Do not give to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop.
Welcome back to Weather Underground. That is a live look at a miserable Houston right now. Boy, the town is great. Don't get me wrong. It's not you, Houston. It's your weather. We have Tropical Storm Imelda right now. Winds are 40 miles an hour, pouring rain on us right now, and it is an awful drive home. And we really want you to be very, very careful because there could be high water in the roads. Ponding is very, very likely for us here. And we think over the course of the next several days, heavy rain is going to be a huge concern for us in southeast Texas. All right, let's break this down for you. If you're just joining us, Imelda happened very quickly. Yesterday at this time, if you're watching the show, it was an area of thunderstorms right at the coastline of Texas. And then today went from a cluster of thunderstorms to a depression to a tropical storm to a landfall, all in a matter of about an hour's time. There's a look at the past 48 hours, and some heavy rain has already fallen for us here along I-45, and more heavy rain is likely through the evening, through the night, and through the day tomorrow. You can see the definitive spin right in here. Again, made landfall about 1 o'clock local time, and the heavy bands will just spiral in off the Gulf of Mexico. We got a big moisture source out there, and there'll be no shortage of rain, no question about that. Again, 40-mile-per-hour winds, north movement relatively slow at about 7 miles per hour. Significant flood threat for East Texas, no doubt about that. Rounds of heavy rain through Friday. Rainfall rates of 1 to 3 inches per hour possible. Some spots will certainly get double-digit rainfall here, Alex, and we think there could be some spots that pick up not inches, but potentially, if everything goes wrong, in essence, feet of rain. It's going to be tough.
It could be a real disastrous event for the communities that do get those rainfalls. So very much need to be watching this one. And be prepared if you live in the area, because that threat for potentially deadly flash flooding, it is one of our biggest concerns. And typical home insurance policies won't cover damage caused by flash flooding. Dr. Knabb went to the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety to talk about why flood insurance is so critical in instances like this.
Well, here at the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, obviously insurance is in your name. Right. Insurance is something we all have to concern ourselves with, and I'm terribly worried about the lack of participation in flood insurance in this country. How do we get more people to go get that flood insurance that can protect them from financial disaster?
Yeah, you know, we look at the impact of severe weather all across the country, and we see how that drives financial loss, disrupts families, and frankly displaces those that you love. So you walk through that. The kind of disruption that's going to happen to your life, you can't do anything about. But we look at what it means to displace your family and the kind of financial loss. And those are the pieces that, unless you're one of the very few Americans that has $250,000 or $300,000 sitting in the bank, you need a way to share that risk. And insurance is the best way to do it. So we think about it in terms of what it means to rebuild, but let's start the day of the storm. Where are you going to sleep that night? Right? So where are those living expenses coming from? That's the kind of thing that is made available through insurance proceeds on a claim. What are you going to do again? Now you got to pay attention to, you know, did the water come through the front door or through the roof? Came through the roof, you need homeowners insurance. If it came, nuances to that. But I think too many Americans somehow allow this American exceptionalism that it cannot happen to be pervade their thinking. But I think we need to be realistic about this. The National Flood Program, I traveled after disasters, and what I kept seeing was a set of people very basic abilities of North Carolina. They were hit by the impacts of Florence and 2 years earlier by Matt. In these communities, their grandparents lived in these same homes and they passed down. And you start giving them an opportunity to buy insurance for a few $1,000s a year, and they look at you and says, you can't do that. I think that's why it's so important that we find ways on resilience to show people what is affordable. There are things that you can do just for a few dollars or $100 or $200. Yes, some of the bigger ways to mitigate can cost thousands of dollars. But I think we let people feel hopeless at the point by which Mother Nature is going to ravage against them.
So many times after these events, you hear from people and they say, I thought my home insurance covered it. So make sure you understand, and if you do, that you've got the necessary coverage.
It's so important, by the way. Don't drive, by the way, into any water-covered roadway. Don't drive around any barricades or closed roads. Just some tips here for you with this system. Don't walk, bike, or play in any of the floodwaters. They can have a lot of chemicals, mud stuff, disease, bacteria. You don't want that.
The officials, if they say evacuate, you gotta go. And if flooding traps you in your home, call 911. Don't get in your car and try to escape. And of course, always remember, don't touch wet electrical equipment.
More on Tropical Storm Imelda.
Yeah, driving safe. You wanna go? You wanna go, bro? Hey, do not mess with my discount. Woo! You can save up to 30%. Let's go! Nice to meet you. Go get him, Tiger. Woo!
Sounds like you've got this.
Yeah, definitely.
Get it saved from State Farm.
Tornadoes can top 200 miles per hour, but even winds of 25 miles per hour can damage.
Pro tip, use Damp Rid.
New Damp Rid drop-in tabs attract and trap excess moisture out of the air, eliminating musty odors.
Works every time.
Get rid of dampness.
Damp Rid.
As a family, we always fly Emirates. Mum and Dad are always saying, I love the breakfast. It's the lunch for me. We both like the snacks and the evening meal. Granny always says, the crew is so lovely with, can I get you anything, madam? My uncle loves Emirates 4 with thousands of channels. Plus, I never miss a live match. And my sister, if she ever spoke to me, would say, it's a free Wi-Fi, duh. You get so much more on an Emirates flight. Even the baby would say, fly Emirates, fly better.
Road crews wasting no time this afternoon putting out flood barriers in areas that flood during heavy rain events in the Houston area, and they've had a day because just like that, we had Tropical Storm Imelda.
Yeah, forming very, very quickly. Looking live at Houston, this is what you're up against for your late day drive. Goodness, it's going to be a tough, slow, meandering movement of this. Means that we'll be dealing with hours and days of heavy rain rather than, you know, just a quick hit.
Now, all they're thinking is Harvey. We don't think it's going to be a Harvey. No. Be a lesser version of that, but the rain will be
up against. And entire southeast Texas is on alert tonight as this storm moves inland. Thanks for being with us. So we've got a special extended live coverage.
Pettis and Imelda, you know, really beating the odds, forming rapidly, making landfall almost immediately after it was named today. And now it's going to be a slow process. Now through late week, we're going to be dealing with the effects of this. Now, I would say this. Wind is probably going to be the least of your worries. It's going to be the rain more than anything, and it's going to be a slow-moving storm system, Alex.
Right. It's going to be very slow. It's going to pack on the rainfall, and because it's slow, we could see some isolated locations that pick up some pretty impressive and pretty damaging rainfall totals. Mike, when we could be measuring the rainfall in feet rather than inches, we know that that means life-threatening flash flooding is an absolute possibility.
You know, and the hard part about forecasting an event like this too, where you know that rain is the big deal, is you can't, it's hard to say specifically who's going to be. It's going to be probably some spot here in southeast Texas. Where exactly, we don't know. That's why we urge all of you to really pay close attention to the forecast, monitor water levels where you are, and be prepared to take immediately if you're asked to evacuate. You know, do you have your important documents with you? Do you have medications? All these things that you may not think about at the last second, because winds are the least of your worries right now. Tropical storm warnings in effect here. Freeport up toward the Galveston area. Winds are 40 miles an hour right now. I don't expect them to get any stronger than they are currently, and the trend will be for them to come down. But you can see where the center sits around that center, that counterclockwise flow here for the next several days. Gulf of Mexico. It's a big body of water here that's really the fuel that we'll see here. This is the future radar. And what I would say is don't look at the specifics of this because it's not going to be accurate. I'm just going to put that out there right now. This will give you a general idea of what Imelda is going to do. But if you live in Beaumont, you say, oh, I see. Yeah, that's possible. Could be less, could be more, may not even be over Beaumont. I don't think the models have enough resolution or all, though, is, again, we're talking 24 plus hours from now, rain is still parked on top of us here in southeast Texas. That's the takeaway here. Everyone needs to prepare equally here, as heavy rain is going to be dominant here. High pressure blocks it, and so what happens here is near record tropical moisture is pulled onshore because the flow is just there. The pattern is locked in, and a slow progression northbound here just pulls in the same amount of moisture. There's the slow progression up towards, say, Tyler through Thursday evening. Again, be ready for this. Be prepared that this thing could do some serious damage when it comes to water here. Alex, life-threatening flooding is definitely in the cards for us here in Texas.
Yeah, you know, we do have some wind with this, and that's where we find Mike Seidel. He's near where the storm made landfall this afternoon. He's in Jamaica Beach. Mike, some gusty showers there, but again, rain the real threat moving forward with this.
Yes, and I just checked the rain gauge at Galveston Airport, which is not far away. We're just kind of on the west end of Galveston Island here at Jamaica Beach. And they have now just clicked over 3 inches for the storm. In the past 3 hours, about 1.25 inches. Now, that alone is good news because that's not going to cause serious problems. It's when you get to 6 to 7 inches in 2 hours. That's when you have the flash flooding issues. That's what we had when we were here back in the middle of May. 7, 8 inches in about 2-3 hours, and that causes a lot of problems. So it's all about the banding, the clusters of storms. Do they sit over the same area? Do they keep moving? Let's hope they keep moving. Bottom line, there's going to be a lot of rain over the next couple days, but it's a matter of how much falls in one spot in a shorter time frame. We'll keep you updated. We're also watching Hurricane Humberto, now a warning up for Bermuda, and another depression likely to become Jerry. A lot in the tropics to keep you updated on. Stay with us from Texas and Atlanta on the Weather Channel.
To be their best, kids need good nutrition and practice. Lots of practice. Get them started right with Carnation Breakfast Essentials. It has protein plus vitamins and minerals to help kids be their best. Carnation Breakfast Essentials.
And Doug.
And now, for their service to the community, we present Limu Emu and Doug with this key to the city.
It's an honor to tell you that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. And now, we need to get back to work. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When designing the Honda Pilot LX and Elite, we thought, why not make them adventurous? Okay, maybe not that adventurous. And why not room for up to 8?
That's adventurous.
And why not make them genius? A no hands sort of genius. A no wires sort of genius. And why not end with a big statement? The Pilot.
What's happening inside Average Underwear? What's happening inside Duluth Bullpen Underwear? Duluth Trading Bullpen Underwear with Stay Put Pouch. Keep your boys where they belong. Only at Duluth stores and DuluthTrading.com.
Best sleep of your life.
Guaranteed.
This is literally the best mattress. Not too firm, not too soft.
I get to keep it for a full year.
365 days, and it's a lifetime guarantee.
Lifetime guarantee.
Game changer.
And they just deliver to your door.
For free. There it is.
It's almost too good to be true.
I love my new bed.
Our bed.
Sure, a resume is a great way to see someone's experience, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why Indeed offers tools that help bridge the gap between a candidate and their resume. Like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. It's no wonder Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. See beyond the resume with Indeed. Post your next job at Indeed.com/skills and try skill tests for free.
One quick trip for one great day. Target run and done.
With trusted protection for all-out confidence, Depend Silhouette Briefs feature maximum absorbency, beautiful colors, and an improved fit for a sleek design and personal style. Life's better when you're in it. Be there with Depend.
Ancestry provided me the opportunity to bring all these stories that I've heard to life. I wanted to keep digging, keep learning. This journey has just begun.
Bring your family history to life like never before. Get started for free at Ancestry.com.
Get you caught up if you're just joining us. We have tropical storm Imelda today, 40 miles an hour, with this one moving north at 7 miles an hour. Made landfall earlier this afternoon, right along the southeast coast of Texas, around Freeport. By the way, Mike Seidel is very close to there live. We're going to get another report from him coming up. As we move forward, though, it's not going to be a fast motion with this one, and it's going to be a rain event. So the winds, yeah, they're there, but the rain will really be the impactful event from this storm. We get you into tomorrow morning. You can see as the kids make their way to school, you make your way to work. It's going to be a soaker of a drive into work. And by the afternoon, more heavy rain likely. This is going to repeat itself on Thursday. So, Mike, we're looking at a prolonged heavy rain event for portions of southeast Texas. Flash flooding the big concern.
All right, Alex, thank you for that. Well, the residents of North Carolina's Outer Banks cleaning up from the 7-foot storm surge delivered by Hurricane Dorian. And as Jen Carfagno explains, the hardest hit island, Ocracoke, is just now beginning what will be a very long road to recovery.
Welcome to Sandpiper Cottage.
Jo Ellen Cattle, returning from a San Francisco getaway, to find she's had a visitor.
This is the remnants of our kitchen.
Hurricane Dorian's 7-foot storm surge invading her home. First time in 26 years of ownership, water has gotten inside.
You can see the water line there. It's 15 inches in this room.
The stench of mold and mildew already overtaking the living room.
Our upholstered furniture, of course, has become waterlogged, and so it's extremely heavy, and we can't get it out of here.
Ocracoke streets lined with Dorian's ruins, mostly furniture and appliances doomed by Dorian's floodwaters.
You drive down the road and it's practically like you're driving through a tunnel of debris.
Islanders realize recovery will be lengthy. They hope to be in good shape when tourists return next spring.
We're meeting with local business people, trying to look at where we're going to be in 2 weeks, 4 weeks.
And supplies, but big ticket items are still in need.
Generators are still an issue, dehumidifiers as they're mucking out, and I think in the longer term, building supplies.
High water marks from past storms. It's at the top. The flood ruined